is introduce some poets to you. They're going to come up here and read their work. Speaking personally, I have shut off my electronic device. I'm not telling anybody else what to do, but I'm just saying it's sure it's easy to do. Unless you need it for the purpose of the recording or something like that, I understand that's perfectly all right. Let's get the show started, even though we've already got the show started great. We got off to a great start with the great help of our rhythm. Right? He who controls rhythm controls. Have you ever heard that before? Have you ever studied this stuff? He who controls rhythm controls. That was said by Ezra Pound, only one of the best poets that ever breathed the air of this world. We've got a poet for you right now. Speaking of poets, hey, speaking of poets, I got a poet right here. I got one heck of a poet. This gentleman came to America in 1957. He was born in Sicily, which means don't fuck with him. I found that out when I came to New York. Right? She's Sicilian, or he's Sicilian. What does that mean? You don't fuck with him. What, are you crazy? Right? Okay, and that was proven to be true. He's from Sicily, came here at the age of 17. Came here at the age of 17, immigrated to America. A nation of immigrants, which is not a cliche, that's the living definition of this country. Now, he was born probably in 1940. Born in 1940. And came here in 1957. So he spent 17 years in a very interesting time in Italy. Something tells me this guy has seen a lot of shit. I'm sure he has, because I read the poetry. He has. He's a teacher, professor. I envy him for a couple of reasons, a couple of good reasons to envy this man. One, he has translated Dante. I can't do that. But I sure read Dante. And he has been able to establish a relationship with Dante like that. I wish to goodness I could do that. I can't do it. I ain't never going to do it. But I'm going to keep reading Dante. And as long as I can, as much as I can. Come out with a new translation. Will you please? Emanuel, I'll buy it. I'll read it. I'm going to get La Vita Nova. I'm going to get that one. They did. Yeah. So that's to be envied. And I envy it. But here's the kicker. This ain't just a poet. This is a poet laureate. I'll let that sink in. We have a poet laureate among us. On July 1st of this year, the mayor of Long Branch, New Jersey, appointed our first reader, the poet laureate of Long Branch, New Jersey. Give that a hand, folks. That's good. Bruce Springsteen, eat your heart out. Right? And the boss is the boss, sure, but not in Long Branch. That's where this cat rules. He's also a poet in residence, right? Which is a great gig. Isn't everybody looking for that? He's got it, and he earned it. He deserves it. And I'm going to read to you where he is. Middlesex County College, poet in residence, right here. I've gone on and on about this man. If I read his official resume, I'd be here all night. Written a lot of books, gotten a lot of awards. He's here tonight to read us his poetry. I am determined to pronounce his name correctly. I actually took instructions when I first got here. I'm going to give it a go right now. Let me channel some spirits. Dante, be with me. He was Italian. Emanuel di Pasquale, take the stage.
That was fun with that, you know. I actually
15 minutes.
I tried to.
You get 15.
Yeah. It's a lot simpler than we think. The academicians are making it reachable, but it's pretty clear. I just want to say that, we live in a world that is continuously and increasingly messy, and the purpose of poetry and all art is to give us some hope and connect us with our passions and with nature's God. When you look at Picasso's Guernica, you know and you sense the real horror of war. And when you read, when you see Van Gogh's Starry Night, you know the hope that we can find. When you listen to Bach, and those linear metallic lines, the lines connect you with our cosmic roots. And that's really the purpose of the arts, and poetry in particular. First was the word. I'm going to read from Self-Portrait, which Raymond Hammond published for the New York Quarterly Press. I'm eternally grateful. Self-Portrait. What terror in your russet eyes, Vincent, mantled by brow and hooded bone. It leaps out of its socket as if to distance itself from brain. Is it all for the sin of color, for seeing the northern lights in the swallow's flight, for seeing a dry rain fall, silvery, like guitar string bits? Is it for seeing God both in the shut-in whore and the peasant child as she merges like a violet iris with her small garment? Is it for seeing sheaves of wheat lean like amber lovers? Oh, Vincent, joy in the flux, joy in the green blindness that burns your brush blue. Joy in the eye that fixes the vortex of the yellow sun and the spinning of the diamond stars. Joy in the cypress that swaggers like a shaggy buffalo in the angled prairie. Joy in the church spire that rises into the sky. Joy in the sky that flows its serpents into hills, streams, firs. Joy in the almond blossoms, poppies. Joy in the dandelion brooks. I'm going to read some of the poems that X.J. Kennedy chose and reacted to. He's one of my master teachers, along with Ezra Pound, Uncle Ezra, and Shakespeare and Aeschylus. I still read those two guys, Italian and English. And Aeschylus is a lot better in Italian than in English. It really is. It's tougher, more real. The nature of pain. God, was it you I saw, hunched on a branch, a snow-clawed thing piping low from under a broken wing? Death. Blue death shines like a halo over the dead dog. It leaves him to sleep in too much peace and rushes into streams and the tops of trees. This is one that Raymond searched for me for about a year. It's a poem called "Caught Off in a Touch of New Jersey Train Station Wall." And what makes the poem a genius for me is the missing column. I do not love you, Isolina Rivera, no more forever. We forget the comma after no more. So instead of a silly thing, no more forever becomes our forever is no more. And we published it in our quarterly. This poem, Kennedy told me, redefines what sanity is. To a woman agitated as she runs out of a mental health clinic. You veer to your right into traffic, holding your baby in your arms, screaming at bastards and bitches. Your husband tries to match you wild steps and nudges you to your left, where the car waits like a tomb on wheels. He orders you into decorum. Eleanor, stop it, enough. His screams reach a higher pitch. How dare she, the bitch? The bitch. You weep, and your baby close to your heart, and used to your confusion and rage, does not wake. My sister, sufferer, my sister. What is normalcy? I think J. Kennedy likes this one because it's sing. So much modern American poetry has lost its lyrical swing. Faith. Soldiers with limbs like frost, lost boys, climb up from the shallow ditches, swim up from the mile-long seas. Father, Father, save us from a fall. Father, Father, let Mother bless us all. Soldiers with limbs like frost, lost boys do not slouch mechanical, but pirouette to wild waltzes, dance to the stars, spin to the northern lights. Father, Father, save us from a fall. Father, Father, let Mother bless us all. Soldiers with limbs like frost, lost boys, most clean the slaughterhouse of a Beelzebub named Hitler. Save the dreams of fields of poppies charred by frost. Joy at the lowest skies. Bounds, babies in your arms. You catch them like falling birds. Which is what happened to me, actually, when the Americans landed in Marina de Ragusa. Father, Father, save us from a fall. Father, Father, let Mother bless us all. I was very taken by a book by Michael Witt that Raymond published. I urge you to look him up. This is called Mad with Sweet John Clare, published in the New York in the Salani Review a long time ago. We all love John Clare, of course. Awake, John Clare, awake, and look for Mary Joyce. Look for the angled sun ray pounding light. Look for the lizard-tongued grass, the hawk in open flight. I want to be mad and hold sweet John Clare by the hand, and all through Epping Forest learn to slither like the snakes and grunt like badgers, and learn with John to bear to look at light, and live on hills where the wildflowers thrive, and look for Mary Joyce and dewdrops and bluebells, and teach the dying child to rip life clean, to kill death with love. Awake, John Clare, awake, and look for Mary Joyce. Look for the angled sun ray pounding light. Look for the lizard-tongued grass, the hawk in open flight. And this is what Kennedy likes because he says, it reminds us of what the word falls really means. Called spawning. The cutthroat trout, large-eyed, circles downstream in the drowned eddies till it turns and rising leaps into the tongue, white silver falls and leaps, falls over, falls. It's nice to have people read your poems with some attention. There's a poem called There's a Pound Ode. I think it came out of the New York Quarterly in the 70s. Night heftily nearing, clocking offers of stillness, and you fully silent. You, we yet have your mind entire. A map of Manhattan on the inner folder of your gypsy hat. Mixing pages of Keats and Whitman. Listen to newspaper man, columnists, acton-eyed, and from you emerges an ascending nod or nappy, an idling machine in front of a red semaphore. You stand entire. Your beauty shall be unbroken. Your dust with walls, and more than walls shall be laid. You know, when people wanted to interview him, you would say, read me one of my lines. And if they could, they would say, go with it. I mean, I went down to the ship, you know, but they didn't bother to do that. There's one that is hiding from me here. You know, a poetry. Okay, I'll read one or two more. There's one that's called My Buddha. I will let my silence be my screams, my peace, my terror, my dry eyes, my tears. I will let the ocean be my desert, the full moon my darkness, and your open face my blindness. And all that lives and breathes, ladybug, cat, dandelion, weed, seagull, brown eyes, prickly sting of rose, be my paradise. And one final poem called The Flurry of Love Poems. As the better poet sings, that walk of hers, circles upon circles, it churns, wheat, it sings. The small noises your throat makes, the seagull's wing bent over the wide shore, the wind as an ornament, or a mum's spare-leaved stem. Your hips that simply by moving speak how one black bird can squander your sweet sound. Hear how our children chirp. Are we all birds at birth? To die rock heavy in the full rain next to a pregnant river on the left bank, light as the breaking moonlight. Just as I miss you, most death miss life. My darkness is all light when I see you. Ah, but you must have your way, or else long silences or moans, tightening of your heart with all this gloom. The busy moon spins out of sight, the sun rushes into night. You're not Shakespeare, she says. There is no tempest in your sea. True, but like his, my lyrical breath will kill. My lyrical breath will kill.
Ladies and gentlemen, take a look at that guy. That's what a poet looks like. You ever see W.S. Merwin? All right? I saw a photograph of W.S. Merwin. I said, now that looks like a poet. All right? And he does. And I haven't seen another one since Emanuel dropped by. Poet laureate of Long Branch is pretty cool. It's not enough. It's not enough. If I had my way, poet laureate of the world right here tonight. Amen. Let's have more poetry, shall we? We got off to a pretty good start. I knew we would. Ellen, you all set?